Coming up on City Beat, you don't have to be a firefighter or police officer to be helpful if disaster strikes our community. The time is now to sign up for the Community Emergency Response Team training. It teaches you basic skills on how to protect yourself, your family, even your neighbors in the event of an emergency. Plus, meet this Las Vegas resident who, after years on the streets and many arrests, accepted the help of a municipal specialty court, the Wynn Court. Find out how she now hopes to become a role model for others. And there's a new and permanent exhibit at the Springs Preserve that lets you see firsthand what life was like here in Las Vegas at the turn of the century. Step back in time at Boomtown. Hi, everybody, and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host, Nancy Byrne, and we are at the Mirabelli Community Center, home of the nationally renowned Mirabelli Maniacs. A little bit later on, we're going to show you around, and you'll find out why this is one of the most popular community centers in our city. But first, if you thought there was a way to keep yourself, your family, even your neighbors a little bit safer in the event of an emergency, would you be interested? Well, there actually is. It's called Community Emergency Response Team Training. It's a 6-week course, and it's no exaggeration to say that it could save a life in the event of a natural disaster or a terrorist attack. We watched in fear in early February as thousands of residents were evacuated from their homes in a Northern California community when both spillways of the Oroville Dam were damaged from torrential rainstorms. Fortunately, here in southern Nevada, we have not had a scare like this, but we are not immune from flooding or any other disaster for that matter. That is why the City of Las Vegas and surrounding municipalities are encouraging residents to sign up for CERT training, Community Emergency Response Team training.
CERT training is training that's offered for free to the general public to help prepare them in case of a disaster or an emergency.
Mary says when an emergency occurs, first responders can be stretched very thin and unable to attend to everyone immediately. Knowing how to take care of yourself and your family could be life-saving.
The first responders will be overwhelmed, so this program trains people for the first 72 hours to be able to be on their own and to help themselves, their family, and their community prepare and to respond to a crisis. We start with disaster preparedness. We move on to fire suppression. We do disaster medical 1 and 2. We do disaster psychology, terrorism, and we end it with a really interesting search and rescue simulation so that they get to practice all the skills they've just learned.
Mary says you don't need to be particularly strong or young to handle the class, as the lessons are fit for nearly all residents.
Pretty much anyone over the age of 16. There's no senior age limit, and there's no restriction on physical ability. If you can come to the class, you can do CERT.
Here in southern Nevada, we're fortunate to have the Clark County Regional Flood Control District, a team constantly working on a master plan of washes and channels aimed at keeping floods away from our homes and businesses. But should we ever be faced with devastating floods or any emergency, knowing how to react and protect those around us could be a matter of life or death.
CERT training is important in a disaster situation, and it'll give you the skills and the confidence to respond effectively, and you'll feel better about yourself and your family being prepared. So it'll make you more comfortable in case of a disaster and just in everyday life.
You can sign up for the free CERT training by going to nvcert.org. The classes start March 16th and run through April 20th. Those are once a week for 3 hours, 6 to 9. They'll be held at the Veterans Memorial Leisure Services Center. Did you know that most crimes in the city of Las Vegas can be directly connected to addiction or substance abuse problems? Well, it's true, and that's why the City of Las Vegas Municipal Court System has special programs to help people deal with addictions rather than just giving them jail time. Our Sue Levitt tells us about one such court. It's called the Wynn Court, and they just celebrated another graduation.
My goodness, Terry, did you realize all these people were coming here to support you?
Judge Cynthia Leung's courtroom is packed today, filled with friends, family, and community leaders, all here to wish Terry Williams well.
It's quite a transformation, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm so proud of her.
Good, you should be. We are all proud.
She is the 31st woman to graduate from the WIN, or Women in Need, court program.
I really didn't see someone who was broken down. What I saw is someone who survived, and in that process knew that if you were to continue living, you were going to need some help.
When Terry came before Judge Leung, she had already been arrested over 60 times, mostly charged with solicitation and drug possession. She was feeding a drug habit that cost her between $300 and $1,200 a day and didn't know where she would sleep, bathe, or eat from one day to the next. Terry says she wouldn't have even recognized her own children if she saw them.
My life was hopeless, I had no dreams, I had no aspirations. I knew I wanted to do something better with my life. I knew I was created to become someone amazing. I just didn't know how to get there. I was released from one jail and went through 2 other jurisdictions before I was even released. It was enough. I just couldn't do it anymore. I knew there was something better for me, and I found it.
But the fact that you knew you were worth better and more than the situation was unfolding, that shows so much maturity and growth.
Leaving a life of prostitution and drug use behind, Terry committed to Judge Leung's Win Court, a program that focuses on getting to the root of issues, usually with intense counseling, and provides women with the tools they need to change their lives.
So we don't just talk about incarceration. We actually talk about changing someone's lives and making their life better and helping them get on a path to rediscover themselves so they can take care of themselves.
Terry was offered a safe place to live in this home, a sober living environment with structure, rules, and responsibilities, while getting back on her feet instead of having to carry out her jail time.
It is an intensive program. We focus now on trauma and addiction because we've discovered that the underlying issue for why women are coming into the criminal justice system has a lot to do with the type of trauma that they may have encountered very early in life. That fuels the drug addiction, the alcoholism, and that's how they end up getting arrested over and over again.
This is what Terry looked like the first time she appeared before Judge Leung. But now, after committing to the Win Court program, she has a full-time job, she's just bought a car, and most importantly, has been sober for over 18 months. A huge transformation from what she looked like her first day in court.
I can hardly recognize myself. It makes me even more grateful. Like, wow, it's been a long time since I saw that person, but I'm no longer that person anymore.
And as Terry celebrates her graduation today, she is presented with a butterfly necklace to signify her transformation into a strong, confident, and respected woman.
I now know that I'm worthy, and I'm worthy of enjoying life, and it's possible now. I can, and my self-esteem is higher than it's ever been.
Live the life you have imagined. And that's exactly what you're doing and you're going to continue to do. Congratulations, Terry.
I honestly believe that I think our judges are guided by the hand of God. This courtroom's full of angels that just touch people's lives, and it's a wonderful thing to see.
I felt like a superstar. I've never seen so many people so interested in coming together that I had no idea I didn't even have any idea that was rooting for me. And it's just an overwhelming feeling.
I'm very proud to ask this court if we could close and dismiss Terry's case today based on completion of the program.
Yes, cases are dismissed.
For City Beat, I'm Sue Levitt.
Terry currently works as a cook in a local restaurant, but she hopes to go back to college to get her degree. She also wants to write a book to hopefully inspire others to follow in her footsteps. Thank you, Sue Levitt, for that story. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to go back in time to Las Vegas circa 1905. Stay with us.
Congratulations to the City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month, Arlene Eng. Sometimes the smallest gesture can make a big difference in the lives of our residents. In October of 2016, Arlene was working in Lorenzi Park when she discovered a wallet near the softball fields. She found the wallet contained $700. She started searching for the owner by talking to the members of the teams that were using the fields at the time, and she was able to locate the owner and return his property. They say your character can be judged by doing the right thing when no one is watching. Well, when she found that wallet, no one was watching. That she immediately began to search for the owner speaks volumes of her character and work ethic. Arlene, for your integrity and for caring about the community we serve, we are proud to designate you the City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew she was special.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back to City Beat from the Mirabelli Community Center. You know, back in 2005, you might remember that we all joined together to celebrate the 100th birthday of the city of Las Vegas. Well, now to a new and permanent exhibit out at the Springs Preserve. You can step back in time and see what Las Vegas looked and sounded like at the turn of the century. It's called Boomtown, and we stopped by there and found out it's not only educational and informative, it's a lot of fun.
It's like turning back the clock to the days when Las Vegas was just a little town born in the desert, being fed and nurtured by the Las Vegas Springs. Boomtown 1905 here at the Springs Preserve allows visitors to experience those Wild West days with a stroll down this street, lined with businesses on one side and railroad cottages on the other.
It's our brand new permanent exhibit here for our visitors, and what we're trying to interpret is early Las Vegas from 1905 to 1920.
Aaron McCullough says this exhibit took years of planning, starting with getting these railroad cottages onto the property from downtown Las Vegas. They belonged to the railroad and were rented out to their employees in their early days.
They were physically moved here, and the historic preservation took a number of years, and now that it's completed, we have one of them open and furnished, available to the public as part of this exhibit.
Preservation meant not only rebuilding them, but painstakingly researching how they would be painted and furnished. Staff actually went to local antique stores to get items that would typically be found inside, from boots to beds. Aaron says most of the other structures are recreations of actual businesses or buildings found in Las Vegas.
The Lincoln Hotel, that's the second iteration of the Lincoln Hotel. That building still exists here in Las Vegas. Your viewers can certainly see it. It is now called the Victory Hotel, and it is on Main Street just north of Bonneville. It currently has a purple awning. The Arizona Club was the premier saloon and gambling hall here in Las Vegas. It was part of Block 16, kind of the early red light district. There was some brothel activity happening in there later on. And so we've painstakingly recreated the mahogany bar and the leaded glass front for our visitors to see. that bank was the main bank here for Las Vegas. You know, an early town, when it got a bank, and a real brick and mortar bank, specifically one with concrete, folks really started to believe in the longevity of the town.
He says the only building they couldn't base on an original is the Mercantile Store, because they had difficulty finding primary documents for one here in Las Vegas. But they felt it was important to include a general store since they were a vital part of our town.
We found a few photos of other mercantiles, exterior shots, that's about it. So rather than try to pretend that we were copying something, we're being very upfront that it's not specifically based on a real business. However, the interior is based on the interior of similar type buildings around the West, so general stores basically.
There's also an outdoor theater and a mission-style train depot. And drifting through the air, you'll hear a soundtrack of what was likely heard as people strolled through town in our early days. It is hoped that visitors will gain an understanding and appreciation of what life was like when Las Vegas was a little railroad town that you could say was sprung thanks to some springs in the middle of the desert.
The Springs Preserve is open every day of the year except for Thanksgiving and Christmas. The new exhibit is open from 9:30 to 4:30 daily. There's so much to do at the Springs Preserve. Now you just have one more thing to add to your list. It's located on Valley View, basically between the 95 and Alta, across from the Meadows Mall. Well, it's hard to believe, but St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. There are so many events planned, especially for some of our active adults in the city. Here's a list of just a few of those events. Now keep in mind, those events are for our residents who are 50 years or better, and many of them require advanced reservations, but it's a great way to get out and meet, eat, and mingle with your neighbors. Well, as promised, we're going to show you around a little bit here at the Mirabelli Community Center and show you why it's one of the most popular spots in the city.
What you're seeing is the nationally acclaimed cheer and gymnastics team, the Mirabelli Maniacs. They compete against teams from all over the country and have brought home trophies and medals for their talents for years. There are actually 5 teams broken up based on age and experience, but all of the teams make Las Vegas proud. Now, while the center is known for the Maniacs, there are so many things Mirabelli has to offer our community. There's a preschool right here in the center that gets kids ready to enter kindergarten with all of the right tools. There's a beautiful basketball court available for games or a little one-on-one. If you love to work out but don't want to travel to a mega gym, everything you need to stay in shape can be found right here at Mirabelli. This really just scratches the surface of what you will find here. A look at the schedule or in the Discover the Fun guide will give you a better idea of all the classes and activities under one roof.
Mirabelli Community Center is located at 6200 Hargrove. Well, community centers like this all over the city are always looking for volunteers to work with our kids. When we come back, we'll tell you what it takes to be part of our volunteer team.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver. The one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason. Because it means love and devotion for one's country. Love. But what really makes up this country of ours? What is it we love? It's the people. Almost half the country belongs to minority groups. People who are lesbian, African American, and bi, and transgender, and Native American, and proud of it. After all, what's more American than freedom to celebrate the things that make us, us? This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, disability, sexuality, race, religion, and any other labels. Because the second any of us judge people based on those labels, we're not really being patriotic, are we? Because love has no labels.
Doesn't see race. Love is love.
Welcome back to City Beat from the Mirabelli Community Center. You know, with so many great community centers like this and nearly 70 wonderful parks, the city of Las Vegas relies heavily on volunteers to help our city run smoothly. Jennifer Davies tells us what you can do if you'd like to give back to our community.
Looking for volunteer opportunities? The city has you covered. From tutoring to coaching and keeping an eye on our parks, we've got something for everyone to get involved.
First of all, you saw that if you're multiplying by 0, there's nothing there. So
Stephen Falger, who had recently retired when he decided to become a volunteer tutor, has really learned from his experience that a small deed can have major impact.
One of our students came in and he had A's on his report card. That was really exciting. That made my day.
His advice for volunteer tutors is simple. Don't underestimate yourself.
A lot of people think that, oh, I can't do this, it's too complicated, I'm not a professional, etc. But you don't have to be a professional, you just have to have an interest.
If you're an active adult age 50 and over, you could also get involved in our Park Ambassador program. Janet Robinson and Roger Dawson have been Park Ambassadors for the past 7 years. In fact, it was volunteering that got them together in the first place.
Got us out exercising and gave us a chance to give back to the community who hooked us up.
Park Ambassadors walk city parks and act as an extra set of eyes to help the city's maintenance team look out for graffiti and inspect equipment like picnic tables and playgrounds. It also gives active and adults an extra incentive to get moving while exploring their community.
Like I say, it's very easy and it doesn't take a lot of your time. They don't expect you to spend 5 hours a day or anything going through your parks. And you're welcome to report on any park. If you happen to want to change a venue, you can go and visit some of the other parks in our area.
Their favorite part is simple.
Giving back to the community.
We need volunteers of all ages to do all sorts of things like answer phones and check out equipment in our community centers. And Corporate Challenge is coming up, which is like the Olympics for dozens of local companies. We'll need all sorts of volunteers to staff events like swimming and track and field. Volunteers must pass a background check and drug test to participate. For more information, you can head into a community center near you. For City Beat, I'm Jennifer Davies.
And of course, you can always go to our website, lasvegasnevada.gov, for more information. Thank you, Jennifer Davies, for that story. Well, speaking of volunteers, we have some great volunteers from AARP and the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program that are manning their stations at community centers across our city to help you get your taxes done. Now, keep in mind, you do have to call for an appointment, and when you do call, you might want to inquire about what you need to bring with you, such as a photo ID, last year's tax returns. You don't want to get there and have to make another appointment because you don't have the right materials with you. Well, you see them out on the streets of Las Vegas. They might be street sweepers. They might be men and women helping emergency responders keep our roadways clear and clean after a storm. They are the men and women of the City of Las Vegas Operations and Maintenance Department. On February 16th, however, we caught up with them as they were doing something not only admirable, you might even say heroic.
It's just about quitting time for these employees of the city's Operations and Maintenance Department. Just another day of making sure travel on our city streets and neighborhood roadways is safe and clean. But on this particular afternoon, there is one more task at hand before heading home.
Let's go for it.
This is James Quisenberry, and his co-workers are about to clean up something else. His head. This is 2 years worth of hair growth that's just about to hit the floor.
Make sure you like it before.
There's a lot of laughing and joking surrounding this haircut, but the cause behind it is serious. He's raising money for childhood cancer research and treatment.
Thank you, guys.
St. Baldrick's Foundation became a charity close to his heart when a friend and co-worker lost a child to cancer, and when cancer knocked on the door of his own home.
Several years ago, my wife had cancer, and my son and I got together and we shaved our heads to show support for her. And I kind of heard about St. Baldrick's after that, and thought it might be a good idea.
In the past, he may have shaved his head to show support. This time around, it's to raise money. And there were many anxious to step up and pay for the chance to take a few swipes at this head of hair.
Any last wishes? Anything?
Clean.
Is it?
No blood.
Is it? No
Go
blood?
for
it.
Why, even the family got involved. This is his daughter, Jessica Bryce, and his granddaughter, Alicia. And when these creative clippers left him with this attractive style, he had just one last request.
Just finish it, please.
Give me a kiss.
Oh, he's kind of got that Walter White look.
Hey, thank you, guys.
This may just look like a pile of hair on the floor being swept away, but these city employees are hoping it's their way of sweeping cancer off the charts and into the history books. Julie Quisenberry, James' wife and inspiration, didn't love the long hair, but she sure loves her husband's compassion.
I think it looks a lot cooler.
It is a lot cooler.
No, I'm proud that he was passionate about doing this. I'm proud of him for doing it. So
Thank you.
By the way, his wife, who you just saw in that story, Julie Quisenberry, also works for the city of Las Vegas. She's with the Economic and Urban Development Department. What a beautiful family. Well, that does it for another edition of City Beat from Mirabelli Community Center. As we go to close, however, we're going to take you to the Mayor's Cup International Soccer Showcase. It took place all across the city February 18th through the 20th and involved nearly 600 teams from all over the world. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you for the next City Beat.